Welcome to the Town of Fairfield Shellfish Commission meeting, February 8th, 2023. Call to order. So, present are Tim Macklin, Todd Henke, Sean Cohen, Bruce Kiefner, Cindy Wakeman, John Short. Public, Campbell said. All right, so we have a quorum. Approval of draft meeting minutes. Back to normal. Meeting minutes of January 11th, 2023. Did everyone have a chance to look at them? Is there any corrections, changes, questions?
I didn't have anything.
Nothing. Someone want to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of January 11th, 2023? Bruce makes a motion.
I'll second.
Tim seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. All right, go to Bills and Communications. Committee reports. Clam relay and planting. No report. The water and habitat quality. Cindy?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so during the reported month, referenced above, which is January, the Town Hall weather station registered approximately 6.02 inches of rain. Castle Hill Beach was closed for this calendar year through the last day of the reporting month is 9.
And we're open at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything else on water and habitat quality? I'll just mention that the fire department's boat sank over in South Benson, but there was no fuel spills, so went down in the night.
Got water. Is that the one with the inflatables around it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we went down there and it humped up the dock and the oysters on that side. Maybe a bag was crushed, so we moved all the oysters on the opposite side, but some fireman was there, and he said they were going to fill it with air, and he didn't really know why it went. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
If they want to get rid of that boat, man,
that's what I said.
I want that boat.
In fact, he said something that's actually better.
So there was no fuel spill, so nothing to worry about there. Anything else on water and habitat? All right, we'll go to permits and access. Cindy again.
Okay, so for the 2023 permit applications accepted through the mail is 33. Online applications are at 48, so we're at a total right now of 81. Off to a good start.
Good. Anything else with permits and access? Southport Beach reopening.
I don't think we got any samples this month, did we? I didn't go.
No, but I did email Tessa and say that we wanted to get the details. As you recall, at the gathering of Shellfish, they talked about Esri GIS mapping and how we could use that. And I asked her to send us the details so that we could do that. That will tell us the testing points. It will allow us to it will actually allow us to put data in there, make comments. It's pretty cool. It's very, very powerful.
Put it in how? Through written word, or we're going to get like an app and be able to go?
Yeah.
You'll get an app. You'll download an app onto your phone. You'll get
the app already.
Field maps, it's called.
Yeah.
So you input the data, and it goes onto that map, and I guess you can put conditions.
And it will actually enable you.
Is this replacing the paper?
No, it's not replacing the paper, but it will allow you to geolocate. In other words, you're trying to go to station number 2. It's going to tell you exactly where it is.
They are looking to get rid of the paper, though, too, to do like an online.
I mean, they'd be able to crunch their data. Well, anyway, I'm sure they put it in the computer.
I think there's all kinds of things you can do with that, though. Like you can mark off an oyster bed or a clam bed, or like where we planted the.
The whole concept of Esri is that it's an infinite number of layers, and you can put boundaries there or any sorts of things, and you can call up whatever layer you want and superimpose it on top of the map. it's used all the time. It's used by the town and everybody else.
Mhm.
I think I get the same pencil every week, every week I get the pencil.
Well, it goes with
We
the
got a
folder.
dick that's Icona Road over here.
Take it with me tonight.
We got the tennis lottery.
In the folder.
All hanging on by.
Alright, we're good with, permits and that, Southport Beach reopening. Commercial shellfish regulations. So, the only thing we really have to report is that Ash Creek, there's gonna be a study going on there over 5 years, Tim, and they want an untouched area for that period to sample disease and see, between the young oysters, the old oysters, and just do a whole big disease. You know more about it, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. It's just a assessment of the natural oyster population in Ash Creek, so they want to make sure that it's kind of left undisturbed so that they can kind of continually monitor it over the next.
And this is through NOAA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's great.
Yeah, so it'll just kind of do a disease assessment and oyster density, all that kind of stuff.
So what do we have to do for that? Nothing, just let them do their thing?
Yeah,
Stay out of their area? Find
Yeah,
out.
we could go. They're going to start in March, I think. They're probably going to do a site assessment. They said they would reach out to us about that, and then I think they're going to go once a month. They're going to set up like a water quality monitoring system, probably put out some signs to say that they're going to be doing this study there. And then they said people are welcome to come watch them do the testing and talk to them and just find out more about what they're doing. So it's like 3 or 4 people, I think, from there. Milford, the Milford lab, yeah.
I had to get off the call.
Yeah, but yeah, they'll once they tell us when they want to do the site assessment, we'll let everybody know if we want to go check it out.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Because we do have those oysters that grow in the same areas every year, and I guess we want to see what's going on.
Yeah. When do you want to offer up the area outside of Southport Harbor for?
So, how you doing?
Hey,
You're talking about the 100 acres out there?
Yeah, before they drop. I mean, the dredging's still going to be a while
Right,
away.
so the dredging, the Currituck, the money was approved by the government to rebuild the boat, and I guess they're in the process of it. I read a couple of articles on it. There's a lot of work going on that boat, but they've already started it, and I think there was a date, but it might have been May of 2023, but it's probably pushed out a little bit, it sounded like. So, maybe within the next year, maybe longer, but that's something that's going to happen now. So when the dollars get approved, then things happen. So this might be of interest to you, is that there's 100 acres outside of Southport Harbor that's going to need whatever's on it basically harvested. When they dredge the harbor, they're going to bring all those spoils out and drop them in that area, that maybe not the whole 100 acres, but they're going to try to fill in holes and things like that. And then with the state and hopefully some other dollars and stuff we do, we're going to try to start shelling up small areas of that area and then put live oyster in there, and they're going to see if the shell catches a set or not. Because
Now, you guys are the state too.
state area.
The state is doing a lot of
Yeah, just states, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be in our waters. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have shell, but not like not what he's talking about getting. So when that happens, we're going to probably need that area harvested. It wouldn't actually be bad if someone went in there and did some surveying or something, but I have no idea what's out there. So we'll probably talk to Dave about that. As for Ash Creek, that's going to be closed now for 5 years. Other than that, we don't have too much going on. So we'll keep you in mind. We'll let you know what's going on.
That's all I'm here for.
Yeah. We know you're there.
Where are you from?
No,
Newark?
So
you overslept.
Oh, okay.
We work 2 jobs now, so.
So for like that job out there, you're interested in doing some work in Fairfield. No one else shows up or comes around. So,
We also have a lot of showing over here.
Real, like oyster shell and clam shell on that?
Clam shell, double-decker shell.
Oh, that's what they need.
Mhm. Big
A lot of
time.
shell, a lot of coal.
We have lots of that.
So, you know,
We just got one of Bloom's old boats that we can deck load and
Would you get was it one of the white ones?
the Dauntless, yeah.
How old is that boat?
Those boats are
47 or 48 finish.
Wow.
I always forget which. They
We
started
went-
one year and finished the next. I don't remember whether they finished in 47 or they finished in
Impressive,
48.
I don't know, those were the 20s.
Yeah.
It's a wooden boat, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's it for commercial shellfish regulations.
Okay.
No real discussion on it tonight. We should probably meet with Dave about that subject, or at least talk to him on the phone, and, you know, see how would we want to work that.
Okay. Should I talk to Dave at all or not?
You could mention it to him.
Okay.
Hey, you know, when that becomes available, I'd be interested.
So they're gonna dredge the harbor then?
Dredging, we're not dredging, it's a federal
I mean,
standard.
No, they're not all they're dredging is a narrow section where the south wharf is opposite,
There's a lot of sand there.
over towards the country club,
Okay.
where the sand is accreted.
It's just piled up?
Well, yeah, they wanna make 100-foot wide shed,
Okay.
so they gotta pull that sand out of there.
It's a good amount of sand.
It's a lot of sand, but a lot of people think that it's Southport Harbor, and it's not even close to Southport Harbor. I mean, it's part of Southport Harbor, but a very, very small portion.
It's yacht, it's across from yacht yard, the wharf there.
I was gonna say, well, where's the application? I know it well.
So you know the jetty that goes out?
Yeah.
So that jetty comes in, it goes along the stone wall.
Yep.
There's not supposed to be any land over there. They're gonna go right up to the wall.
Oh,
on that jetty.
wow. Little,
Get all that sand out of there.
Gotcha. That
A
little
little
beach is
beach.
gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
That little beach is gone, the plover's
Gotcha.
gonna move down the way a little bit.
Yep.
And, we said we'd provide some shelf for that, but,
Yep.
yeah, you could mention it today,
All right.
that you might be interested in working on that.
No problem.
When it
Thanks.
happens.
Thanks for coming, appreciate it.
We'll see you.
All right, thanks.
Get some sleep.
I'll try.
All right, oyster bed development.
Pretty quiet right now.
Collecting shell.
Like the shell still, we have a possible meeting with Greenwich Shellfish Commission on Friday. They're interested in starting a program, so the big issue is most of these towns don't have a place to store shells, so, you know, we've become the designated storage site for a lot of other towns in the state, so there's a couple of options, so we're going to talk about what works best for them. Greenwich has a couple of other organizations that are involved. This Waste Free Greenwich could help them with their program, but they would still need to store shell at our place, so I'm just going over the logistics of all that.
So is Westport the only town that's likely to want to share our storage area?
I think Greenwich will, and I haven't heard from Westport since
Greenwich is actually,
we're having a meeting with Greenwich on Friday.
I'm just surprised that, given the bulk and the weight of the shell, you know, transporting it, you know, a lot of people don't want to.
No.
You know what it's like.
Yeah. I think that's what we're going to talk about on.
They don't have
on
the equivalent
Friday.
of like a DPW or conservation down there?
They do have a conservation department, so they're going to be on the call. This Waste Free Greenwich does a lot of composting stuff, so they do a lot of composting in the town. So they're used to hauling waste or organic waste. So, but it's just an initial like preliminary conversation. So, they're interested in a program. So we're going to, since we've been doing it, kind of talk to them and try to do some kind of partnership. So we'll see how it goes. And then Westport, I'll follow up with them because I know they expressed interest a couple of months ago, but I haven't heard anything from them. So, and then I think the state's about to send out a shell recycling survey to restaurants. Email went out today, just like a preliminary one to see if it works glitch-free, and then they're going to send it out to a bunch of restaurants. To this guy, Dan Miser, who's the head of the Connecticut Restaurant Association. So he's going to send it out to a bunch of restaurants, and then hopefully there'll be a lot of feedback from that, and we can start really expanding the program more. So see how it goes.
I think the restaurant's biggest concern, I mean, you know, because you handled the shell, is that it's picked up in a timely manner, because it's not, especially in the summer, it's
Yeah.
not very pleasant to be around.
Yeah. As long as, I mean, it depends, every restaurant's a little different. If they seal the buckets properly, it's not bad. Sometimes they just don't even put the tops on, or they don't put them all the way, and that becomes a problem. I mean, we do it weekly around here. My number's always on the bucket, so people need more, so, you have the people to go pick it up, get dedicated people.
If the buckets are out there with no lids on them, and no one's complaining, the people
No
down
one's
there don't
complaining
care,
about
or they can't smell
We've been
it.
doing it for almost 8 years here, and we haven't had one complaint or one, like that guy at the commission, at the Gathering Shellfish Commission was talking about rats. I've never seen one rat at our shell pile or behind a restaurant gnaw through a bucket or anything in the 8 years we've been doing it, so.
No, I think the concept is wonderful,
Yeah.
but then when we went to Jimmy Bloom's and saw
Oh, yeah.
a shell pile that was
250
10 times the size of this room.
This building.
I mean, 10
It's up to-
times the size of this room.
Yeah.
It was 20 feet tall and covered an acre.
Yeah.
You know, it was
When we
unbelievable.
were there, it was 215,000 bushels of
That
shells.
was half the size.
And I went there Saturday to look at we started up the next room over there with the big tanks, and it was 350,000 bushels.
And he uses all that just
Another
for his own
row.
And they'll
operation.
put it out in 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they said on that boat that when they take
Right.
80,000, or I don't know how many thousand bushels on this 80-foot boat, with a captain and
One other
Two
person.
people, yeah.
One other person.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So on that subject is, while we were there, Jimmy did offer that if we bring the shell up to New Haven, they'll just conveyor it right onto one of their boats and bring it down and put it down for us if we want.
Mhm.
So we'll see if that happens or not, but it would save a lot of work.
He is the nicest guy. It's really,
Yeah.
Informative.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to the rehash on the gathering. All right, oyster bed development, Tim saved all the oysters on the dock with Todd.
Dear God.
All right, communications, who wants to go? Cindy, Sean, Bruce?
Have you had any communications?
So, Tim and John, I forwarded you both the Eagle Scouts proposal. How did that look? Got something that's ready to go to conservation?
When did you forward that?
I sent it to
On the
John
weekend,
Short and
right?
Tim Bishop.
Oh, Tim Bishop. Oh, got it.
Oh, you didn't send it to my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay, but Tim Bishop, you were gonna look at it and see whether it was ready to go to conservation.
Yeah, I have to take another look, but I remember not finding any problems with it.
Okay, is that something that you'd like to present? Would you like him to do that as part of his, let's call it, leadership, whatever it might be, component?
Yeah, once it's on the agenda, that's on him.
That's how you've done it with previous Eagle Scouts?
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. And when is your next meeting?
It would have been next Wednesday. It's always the third Wednesday of the month. So
Okay.
if we're good, we could get it on the mid-March meeting.
Okay.
And it was enough work for the amount of hours?
So, I mean, he basically blew out the plans for the one. I think what it ought to be is, rather than picking randomly 3 things, then he's tied to those even if it goes over, is the idea that he's got to do the 100 hours. And so he knows how he's accounting for his hours. If this doesn't quite do it, but it passes, maybe we're talking about a second at a different beach, that's something we could discuss. But I mean, I don't think we have necessarily a basis by which to know how much time this takes. I don't want to overload him, but to your point, I don't want to end it at 50. So
Yeah.
would a second one be in play? We talked about some other ideas in terms of things down by the waterfront with the hooks and the other things where people are fishing. How do you guys want to move ahead with that? Should we build some backups, or should we look at maybe making a second one if there's sufficient time?
Yeah, maybe a second one, and then if there's sufficient time, yeah, it goes in. Just plans for it, right?
Yep. So I think the number was about $350 for this. Is this something we can get reimbursed to him for doing all the labor and everything else? How does that work? Do Eagle Scouts typically cover the cost, or they're doing something for a public good that gets covered?
Actually, Camel done.
You typically cover the cost yourself. It's like typically you get donations. You have to raise the money yourself.
Okay. I'm not.
In the past, for conservation, we've been funding it.
It's the same project.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the cost. Huh? All right. So, yeah, I think everything's...
Yep, and that's obviously on communications, because once we get this approved and it's okay, he's going to, part of what he's going to be doing is actually documenting what it is that he's doing and why he's doing it and how it's going to help the town. And we're going to get, let's call it 5 or 6 posts out of that at least, that are specific steps as it goes from beginning to end.
So he's going to post it as, like, the
He can either
project, or...
He can either post it as a guest on our account, or he can give me what he wants and we can post it up. That's fine, but it'll be posted on our account showing the progress of this project.
All right, that's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
That's good. That'll,
Where is he putting it?
Right, I mean, right now it's Jennings that we're talking about, but I mean, if the concept is good and someone has a problem with the location, that's less.
Yeah.
Jennings is good because it's a big beach.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's good.
All right. Anything else on communications? So I did say about this thing here, this Parks and Rec book.
Yep.
Like we're not listed in it. I don't know, maybe if they would list us in here with our permit, you know, what the permits cost and stuff for the summer session for nothing. Just do that.
Makes sense. You put out a summer one, you said?
Well, this is spring,
Spring,
so I'm
oh,
assuming
yeah.
there's going to be probably a summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll give Parks and Rec a call and find out what it takes to get in these things.
Yeah. All right. Like you said, it's, you know, almost everything's going to take place online.
Mm-hmm.
Every year it'll be more and more, but I mean, Campbell doesn't even know what this is right here. This is paper, Campbell. It's the truth, like. You know.
That's the equivalent of the phone book.
Yeah.
All right, downwellers, no report, shut down. Actually, no, we do have some. When we were at Jimmy Bloom's facility, we looked at, you know, his filter system and all that, and they had a pretty cool device. It's like a spinner, and it just spins out all the solids, and it kicks them to the side, right? Or do you
I
have
think
to
it
empty
puts it in a little, it's in that container, but you can remove it.
It's an upwell.
Instead of down.
Yeah. Converting ours.
And then it keeps it bubbling and it
No,
agitates all the waste. What?
Out in the filter system, there was a spinner that takes out the solids,
Okay, cool, but
the stuff we suck.
my takeaway was upwell.
Yeah, it was
He did
two
mention
things.
an upwell.
Yeah.
Well, it was two. He showed us the centrifuge first, which cleans the water.
Centrifuge was
I'm
cool.
just talking about the little separate.
The centrifuge, yeah.
Where does it hit?
It
We
keeps,
got reverse.
yeah. But
We're
then
upwelling.
switching it over to.
But that would make it
It makes
a
it,
lot easier for keeping it clean.
right.
Yeah, we had to, you know, what do we have to shut it down once a week and clean that stuff
Yeah,
out
at
of there?
least, yeah. Ideally twice
We
a
could
week.
gain a week.
Yeah, probably the time we clean it and then also another time.
The
right
intake
down
was the other issue too, though. That gets summed up.
All right, reports from the Conservation Department. Our shellfish fund balance is $34,286.12 as of January 31st. That will go down by $5,000 whenever the bill for our sorter gets paid. Finance is trying to figure out how to pay without Charles Island being a vendor. But it's a one-time thing, so Joanne said that. They're working
it out. Okay.
Shellfish permits, 83. Closure, 9 days. Budget, status quo, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, old business, gathering the shellfish. So Sean, you missed out on
I missed.
lively meeting. Well, the last 10 minutes. Last 10 minutes. Anyone want to talk about anything at the meeting?
Well, I thought we had an impressive representation, number one, more so than anybody else. I think that our activities, our shellfish program, and Dave was also very big on the relocation from the dredging, and I have not seen it, but I'm aware of a lengthy email or text that he sent to Deep supporting the relocation of the sand as opposed to replenishing beaches. So, you know, it really put us in a leadership position. It made me feel proud that we were doing doing a good job and have the respect of the group, and they want to work with us. And it's a wickedly smart group of people.
Yeah.
And they're very, very dedicated. So if they know that you're working hard, they'll work hard for you. Tessa was interested in the buoy that's off of Southport Harbor. She wasn't aware of USGS buoy, and I sent her the link to that, and she liked that. That was of a lot of interest to her because it's gathering a lot of data, and it's online. It got damaged in the storm, but they came out and they fixed it.
Yeah.
But I thought it, and then of course everything got eclipsed when we went over to Jimmy Bloom's, and that was
quite impressive operation.
Wow.
Some of them sell 1,000 permits a year. We gotta,
Yeah.
maybe they have a state
Yeah.
park right there.
Hopefully we'll break 500
We have to
this
get
year.
some more
I mean,
plans.
Who's doing this?
Awesome.
Like Groton,
Groton?
there's
Yeah.
like 2 or
Yeah.
3.
There's
Like
multiple areas to claim.
Or
I
900,
mean,
dang close to it.
you
But
know,
definitely 2 of them at
I'd
1,000
say it-
permits.
But nobody else is doing it this is the largest in the Northeast.
Well, no, we were good that way, just in permits. I think they have a
No,
state
oh,
park
no,
that they
I wasn't
sell
talking
them for
permits, I was talking.
half our price too.
All right, so then, we'll get to the good part, is Tim Macklin got
Although
called
the
up
out of state was more.
to make a presentation that he didn't know about.
You stood up there.
And, so him and Mike,
Gilman?
Gilman,
Yep.
we're talking about the statewide shell recycling program, and there were a couple of, people in the audience that weren't having it. And we're trying to let Tim have it.
Why though?
What was the issue?
It was just people maybe.
So I guess I found out after the fact.
Yeah, we found out.
50 Shellfish Commissions and just you had a time to speak and it's like
Mm.
questions that you might not need to discuss there.
So after the fact, I found out that this person got onto that commission because he had the Shellfish Commission fought against him putting in a dock. So he figured, I'm getting on that commission, and
Raising
So
hell.
we're
he just started to get
Yeah,
angry.
they think that they're
Like,
empty, dead.
I mean, if you look at his face, he was angry.
Yeah.
All this stuff, you know,
Well, there was 2 guys. There was the Groton guy who was a little upset
The
too.
Groton guy, but I think
But he's
the
back.
Groton guy is from Greenwich.
Yeah, he's from Greenwich. Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you know, they're just listening to themselves.
So,
Making
There was just 2 people though. I mean, everybody
It's
else.
nice,
people.
it's nice to know we have a peaceful, homogeneous group of people working together.
If I recall, I'm the one who requested the bulletproof vests.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
and
Might need 'em now.
Your meeting. That would have been kind of a statement.
gun in a badge.
who wants to go, so we went on a field trip afterwards over to, the Bloom's, New Haven facility. So I've been doing some work over there with, their tents on their climate control. But, anyone wanna tell you what the hatchery was all about, or?
I got there, a few minutes late, but
More
they've got these individual buildings that are basically taking spat and then bringing it to another building where they're growing algae. I mean, these are huge buildings.
Yeah.
And then they're all plumbed together.
Vertical bag.
It must be 100 by 50 feet, each one of them. And it's phenomenal what they're doing. I mean, and
Yeah, so what it is you have a building, 3 buildings. The middle building, they grow algae in. So they raise the algae, and they have different size algae, I guess, for the different size oysters. The little tiny ones can only eat this microscopic stuff. And then the other ones can eat, like,
Larger, yeah.
larger free-swimming.
Basically, it's an algae farm. One
Yeah.
tent's an algae farm.
So then the first building is going to hold the brood stock, and they're going to keep oysters in these tanks at 65 degrees, and then slowly raise the temperature up to 75 degrees, and they'll spawn. And then they'll let that spat swim around for a certain amount of time, and then they filter it with this really fine net and catch all the spat. And then that'll go into the third building, which has all these 1,500-gallon tanks that'll have like 80-degree water in them. And they'll throw the powderized oyster shell in there, oyster shell. The spat sticks to it, and now they have oysters that they'll raise to a certain size and put in their upwellers. So it's pretty cool, but they're actually growing algae now in the bags.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on.
Like, I think 6 different species of algae?
All the
Green
different
to
color,
brown.
red, yellow. That would be a
So it's gonna
great
turn out.
field trip for the aquaculture school. It's really, it's amazing when you see this. I mean, you go into a room that has these giant
Bags.
bottles or whatever it is of different colored algae that feed into these other tanks with all these lights on it and these pumps.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
it's phenomenal.
Yeah. It's, I think, the only hatchery in Connecticut, and it's gonna be the biggest in the Northeast when it's done.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it saves it. I asked Jimmy, I said, why do you do this? He said, well, because we lose about 6 months, and this makes up for that 6 months.
Yeah. Not to mention, he said there's like mortality rate for all oysters.
You know,
It's
like 10% lift.
90% mortality.
Yeah.
And then,
That's what I always say.
Crazy.
then it was amazing, he said, rather than using cages, he said they just drop them, and he said, we're happy, and economically it pays if we can get 20% yield, we're more than happy, we're thrilled.
20% yield total?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, you might think from a business perspective,
Yeah.
you wanted 80-20, not 28.
Yeah.
But they've got the math, and
So by dropping them on the bottom, I asked them about that, is that it's a lot less labor involved. You drop it down, the thing grows, and they'll go through and pick the good ones that look like they're, farm raised and that.
Yep.
And then, but they have a big shucking business too. So the ugly oysters get shucked. And, they just take the nice looking ones and put those for the half shell market.
Mm-hmm.
He said that the hatchery will, if it's working right, will produce enough oysters where they have to they don't want to affect the market because they're going to be able to grow so many oysters out of that place.
wow,
See how it goes. But
it's really cool. It's a big investment.
did you go on the boat cruise?
Yeah, well,
How was the boat?
Big generator.
Big sucker boat.
Yeah.
oh no,
The vac.
You went on it, didn't you?
yeah, oh yeah, I went on a boat.
How
yeah.
was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's about 80 feet. It's wooden.
Mm-hmm.
Built
No.
in
We went on the metal boat.
Small
Yeah.
ones were the big one.
Oh, that one was metal, but the one that came in there while we were,
Yeah, that was 100 years old though.
yeah.
20s.
So we went on the sucker boat. So they have a sucker boat. It's
Everybody
got like
lost.
a
Big
big vacuum
mega
hose
man.
on the side with a, looks like the end of a vacuum. And there's a gigantic impeller in this thing. It's run by a diesel engine. And it sucks everything off the bottom and it goes through the impeller and then goes through a wash plant. And all the shell ends up on the deck. And then, the rest of the stuff just goes out the back of the boat. And they have like a skid steers and a little bobcat that push the shell around on the boat.
Yeah, and one guy drives the Bobcat and one guy drives
and operates the
boat. 2 people. And when they're getting rid of shell, they do it in reverse and they lower the sides down. Those guys work really hard. I mean, it was a cold Saturday and they were working hard.
Listen, I was down there this Saturday. It was like, I don't know, -4 in the morning or something.
Yep.
The wind blew the garage door open, and all the tanks were frozen. So they told me the heat wasn't working. I'm like, man, it was -4 and the garage door was open. But I made some adjustments.
Yeah,
Everything's
shut the
fine.
door.
I think the only thing I want to add, they're doing a soil survey, an inland soil survey all along the coast of Connecticut, and they're going to be doing Fairfield area, I think in May, he said.
Yeah, you can catch the boat.
Yeah, but he said that, this guy's name is Donald Harazek, I think it
The
was.
guy who gave the talk,
Yeah.
the dirt man.
Yeah, the dirt man. Anyway, but they're going to have a boat out there doing these big core samples, and I guess he said if you can reach out to him, I'll see if I can find his information. If anybody's interested, go out on the boat when they're in Fairfield.
Yeah, because I think they're going to keep because they got pontoon boats.
Yeah, they'll probably keep it at South
Keep
Bend.
them at the marina.
Yeah.
I think Tim was.
Yeah, did anybody reach out to you about that?
No, not to me.
Okay. I'll see. send the guy an email. I
It
think
might
he
have
was,
gone out to the Marino people.
yeah.
That's it on the gathering.
Mm-hmm.
New business? Informational?
There will be, I don't know, did you get an invitation from the Mill River Wetlands?
Tim went.
Yeah, it was 8 in the morning. Yeah. I was confused. I thought that there was another meeting.
My wife and I
Yeah.
both went, I went up after the Shellfish and she went up after. We get there at 8 o'clock and the place is locked and go,
Well, something's not right.
oh, we're 12 hours off. But there's gonna be another meeting.
Yeah. It was just kind of like a meet and talk. I wrote down everyone's name here. It was set up by John Dilly, who's on the Mill River Committee. There was that guy Dick Mahowski, who's on the Erosion and Flood Committee. It was just a bunch of basically people from committees in the town, just to kind of get together and talk and exchange information about stuff that's going on around the town.
But part of it, I think, isn't what they're trying to do is, because my wife and I talked about it, is to create awareness. In other words, a lot of people just, we sit in this meeting and we know about things, but the greater public doesn't. And all of these committees and commissions are having a hard time, or often having a hard time getting members. And if people aren't aware of the issues, then they're not likely to be involved. But if they can learn about the issues and they become passionate about it, they might say, oh yeah, I'd like to be involved because, all of these commissions are all volunteers. And so, to that extent, and then some of the commissions are being challenged by DEEP. And so how you sort of assert yourself, because they want to they don't want local control, they want central control. So that, no, you harbor management, you have no authority over what happens with docks or whatever. We'll decide up here. And they've done this in Norwalk. And there's a court case pending upon this where they said, no, you can't determine, when they're rebuilding the railroad bridge there, the harbor master can't make these decisions, the harbor commission can't make these decisions. No. We'll let you know when decisions have been made, we'll tell you what they are, but your voice is zero. And that's the only way to counter that is to get the legislature to, and that's what the Harbor Commission is doing, is working with the local representatives to make them aware of it so that they can pass legislation to ensure the empowerment of the local commissions and entities, because otherwise it will all come from the top.
Bush, you want to talk about the UI change line at all, or you know anything about it? No. Tim Bishop, do you know anything about it? Ash Creek UI transmission line, replacing the tower?
Sure do.
You want to just go over it quick?
Big picture is UI's replacing their lattice towers from end to end through town. They're replacing them with monopoles. Most of them are within the railroad corridor. Some of them step outside that, specifically near the Metro Center, where a lattice tower next to that cement concrete plant or trucking area crosses wetland and conservation easement on its way to Bridgeport over Ash Creek. The two towers there on Fairfield side are going to be replaced with 4 monopoles, two pairs, before they cross over into Bridgeport. There's a substation over there that it's kind of the final destination. I don't anticipate much disturbance. Most of it through the easement and wetlands, tidal and inland, are going to be under timber matting. for cranes and vehicles. And the most ground disturbance is going to be for the footings of the monopoles. They'll be 8 foot in diameter and anywhere from 80 to 100 plus feet tall. I don't really see, from what I know so far, it's still in design but being submitted to Siting Council shortly. I don't see much effect on shellfish here or any erosion, that's out of control for that matter.
Right. Dave Carey.
Sorry?
Dave Carey contacted me, and I told him the same thing. I don't think there's going to be any impact on shellfish.
What's happening with the old towers?
Those will come down once they restring the lines.
Will there be this earth disturbance, so to speak, when they remove presumably they're on footings, will the footings just be left there and the tower removed, or will they remove the footing?
I know that question came up. I don't recall what the answer was because we're dealing with Eversource on a similar project, and I don't want to confuse the answers. I believe Eversource for that one said they were removing the footings. I don't recall what UI said for this location. But if they were, then that would be an additional disturbance. But they're not. These two locations aren't that close to the water where
I don't
dirt or any erosion's going to be dumping into Ash Creek. So I think in the end it's little to no effect on shellfish in Ash Creek.
So if anything comes to us, we'll just pass it along. All right. More informational. Ash Creek Conservation Association met with me on Tuesday to talk about the people digging and what can be done. So I said, proper signage, maybe a different sign than what the state gives out, that yellow sign, maybe something that states more danger or something like that. But we talked about some solutions, and they said that we might be able to put some shell down on their side of the creek over by the island, and if they wanted to shell up a little bit over by the sand spit, the oysters will start to grow there, and people tend not to take through the oysters. So then I said, that's really all we can do for you. And they wanted to talk about putting an ordinance in place between the two towns of no digging in the marsh. I don't know how that works, how to get an ordinance passed, if that's something that's worthwhile. I think on our side of the creek there, it's fairly controlled to, town residents that have parking passes to park back there. Or I think with some more signage and just some monitoring, we could handle our end of it. But I did get back from them that they talked to a scientist that said that the shell is detrimental to the environment because shorebirds can no longer feed. And so...
How is that, with all of the studies that the state's been doing that contradict that, how is that?
So I feel like it's just another one of those things. It's like,
the scientist.
Yeah, did they do?
Bridgeport against Fairfield maybe or something.
Yeah, but the state has done numerous studies about it.
I know.
So they're contradicting everything
there before.
That UConn's done.
Thousands and thousands of years. But,
and if we do put ordinances in, we run into the same problem of enforcement. Okay, you can.
Well, that would be the
problem is on their side.
Would be the enforcer.
Yeah,
So,
but we've seen where that goes on the priority list.
well, there's no enforcement now.
Yeah.
We have DEP, but I mean, they're so spread out that they're not going to monitor that.
It's really on their side though, because anybody
It's really
can come
on their side.
park.
So,
anybody from anywhere in the state can come and park there.
So they've gone and got some of the yellow signs. They're going to put those up. I say that on our side we'll just put some more signs up. Maybe we have a sign, some metal signs that are made for the research projects going on, to say that's a research area, and then get some real metal signs that say no shellfishing, no digging, something like that.
Oh, we
Dangerous.
could say that, toxic earth study.
Yeah.
It's scary signs with skull and crossbones and
Right.
some actors to go out there in the middle of the day on Saturday afternoons and scream, "I got sick, don't eat this." Do it every Saturday for 2 months.
Tim had an idea, and I don't
Do
know,
it.
Tim Bishop, what you think about this is, we have to put the signs like on telephone poles and stuff up by the parking lot. Is there any way we could affix a couple of signs actually into the marsh, or will we have to get like permits for that?
Yeah, I'd have to go to conservation.
Or at least
I'm not sure I'd be that happy about, signs in the water. It
Right.
has kind of a bad look to it in a natural state.
I'm not talking about in the water. I'm talking about up, there's like a path where people walk their dogs.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just.
Yeah, I mean that I think is a little different. We could do that.
Like up on
My
the
guys could do that.
Go down with the sleds, like right before.
Yeah, right before we go down the path with the.
It would be similar to telling people what they do with their dog waste,
Well, so that's what happened with that. Anything else on the other? No? Campbell, it's your big moment. Public comment. Anything?
No.
Glad to be here.
Awesome.
Who wants to make a motion to end the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting of February 8th, 2023.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, meeting adjourned.